So Eric Fegraus is from Conservation International. Conservation International is an organization that's worked with us several times. We're very excited to have an opportunity to partner with them. They've done, we have a number of programs, and they've done a data core project with us, as well as a data dive project at our last data dive event in November of last year. And we are hoping to have further opportunities to work with them. So I'll leave it to Eric to tell us more about that and his experiences with data. Thanks very much. Eric, please give him a hand and welcome. Sure. It's probably easier if you use this one. Testing.
You guys hear me?
Okay.
All right, great. Thanks so much. It's great to be here. I love the topic data, technology, social good stuff. This is exactly my type of crowd. So I'm a senior director of technology at Conservation International. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about CI. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about generally where I see conservation going and how we can use data and technology to advance our mission. I'll take a kind of a deeper dive into one of our programs that we feel pretty good about, and our uptake of technology is one of our more successful case studies, I guess. And it includes the DataKind experience and working with the folks here. And then I'll provide some thoughts about how NGOs can really think about data and technology and how best to kind of make this jump. Just out of curiosity, how many people are here from NGOs? Great. Okay, so there's a crowd, and the rest are data scientists, software tech people, basically. Excellent. Okay. All right. So some background about CI. Oh, I do. They're not up. Oh, I have to do local percent. Thank you. There we go. Okay. So some background about CI. We're one of the larger international non-governmental organizations. We're headquartered in Arlington, Virginia. We work in 20 plus countries around the world. Have over about 900 staff worldwide. Probably 300 or so in the U.S. There's about 5 of us in the Bay Area that all work remotely, and I'm happy I'm one of them because that's my passion is thinking about technology and data and conservation. And CI is a little unique. We have a science division. We do research. We run programs. We're involved in all types of projects, ranging from creating protected areas with governments to running large-scale monitoring programs in wildlife and agriculture, fisheries and aquaculture, and so we do a lot of different things. But just because we're big, it doesn't mean we've kind of made this jump successfully to really grab technology and harness the power of all these technology buzzwords: big data, cloud, analytics, IoT, just keep going. But we're getting there. So, from a conservation perspective, at least we have to have the data so that we can actually manage what we care about. So we have to be able to measure the things that are important to us. And to do that, you need data. And unlike a lot of sectors and industries, we're not quite drowning in data. We're almost there. We're getting there a little bit, but we have to do more. We actually have to collect more of the data we need. And then, of course, the main goal is not just to collect data, right? Data is great, but we have to turn it into analytics that are meaningful for, in our case, the decision makers, people who make decisions about wildlife, about protected areas, about natural resources, about sustainable agriculture. So we have to get this information in a way that's understandable and actionable to decision makers. So there's 2 big challenges. And in terms of data, traditionally in ecology, conservation, we have 4 ways to get data. Starting on the left here, we've got space-based sensors, right? I'm not going to go into that. There's tons of satellites up there now. They're providing unprecedented amounts of data that lets us see all types of information from forest change, land use change. We can monitor, we can figure out what type of crop is on a farm. We can do so many things. So that's great. It's a huge component of Earth observation that's giving us a lot of critical information. Kind of a burgeoning area is air sensors, particularly drones. There's been so much buzz about drones in the conservation space. We still haven't really put it into place in a kind of a standardized methodological way to really capture a lot of critical information, but it's coming, right? And I think there's going to be a big push of data and analytics around that information. Traditionally, we collect data by sending people out into the forests or underwater, into the streams, right? We go observe things, we count things, we measure things, and that's good. You know, we go interview people, do census, and so that's going to happen more and more as well. But the area where I see a ton of growth is really kind of in situ sensors. I say ground sensors, but it could be underwater, freshwater, sensors that are on the ground collecting information. They're getting cheaper, they're getting smaller, they're lasting longer, and that's just going to create whole new data streams that we have no idea how to handle. And so that's really exciting, but it's also really challenging. So with all this data coming in, there's these new sources. I mean, part of the challenge is being able to turn this into analytics for decision makers. And so, you know, at CI, we've kind of got 4 programs that we've started down this path with. One's about sustainable agriculture. It's an agricultural monitoring network that is focused in Africa and about 5 countries there. We're really trying to make sure that as Africa expands their food supply, they do it in a sustainable way, and we take into account people's livelihoods and minimize ecological and environmental impact. We have another program focused around detecting fires and providing land managers fire risk reports and updates of when fire is occurring on their lands in real near time. We have a long-term program based around wildlife management, a long-term monitoring program, and I'll talk a lot more about that in a minute. And we have another program that's really bringing together a lot of data sets that's focused around resilience and people's and nature's resilience to big stressors like climate change and land use change. And so it's kind of a data hub that we're making available to a whole suite of end users. So I could talk about each of these, but just to kind of give it kind of an in-depth experience, a deeper dive into one of our programs, I'll focus on wildlife management. So the program I'm going to talk about is called the TEAM Network. It's the Tropical Ecology Assessment and Monitoring Network. It's about 10 years old. We rebooted it about 6 years ago, and in the reboot we had 3 core partners: Conservation International, Wildlife Conservation Society, and the Smithsonian. And the objective is to basically collect the information we need to understand how tropical forests, wildlife, and biodiversity are responding or being impacted by climate change and land use change. So I'm going to play you a little video here. I hope the audio works to give you more kind of in-depth understanding of the TEAM network.
One of the reasons we work in tropical forests is because they are the largest reservoirs of biodiversity, and they are the least understood.
There's this huge information gap in the tropics. So at the same time that we've got these places where there's going to be massive changes in climate, we also have no baseline data.
We can only monitor global threats if we have studies running at a global scale, and that's what TEAM is doing.
I've never seen the PASO data as an isolated set of data. I see the data in PASO as part of the jigsaw puzzle.
You have all this information coming from all different places in the world, chemistry data or climate data or vegetation data, but then each of those places cannot make global sense of it until it's all in one place. It's synthesized and it's understood.
Eventually, we can create this huge network of data that we can use. It's publicly available. That's the beauty of T2. And since it's one protocol, one standard, it's everything in standard form, the data is there, ready to be used.
At the end of the day, the data I'm collecting here can actually influence decision making and policy implementation, not only in Uganda, but elsewhere in the tropics.
I think that's where science is really, really important because it actually influences political will.
Global problems need global solutions and global level measurements. We have to break the mold of studying, little things in little places for just a little time to be able to have an effect in the world.
Okay, great. So here's some statistics about the team network. We're in 17 essentially protected areas around the world, 15 countries. We put these things called camera traps out in the forest, and they take images of animals as they walk by. We've got millions of them. We're able to monitor species populations with these, and because this is actually a long-term data set in the tropics, it's really unique. And so it's just kind of a gold mine for research and science publications. There are a ton of publications that have come out of this. And so, when we went down the path of we rebooted the team network, we kind of refocused the mission, and we wanted to focus on wildlife. First, one thing about this program is because it was such a big program, we were collecting so much data, it really forced Conservation International to think differently and actually invest in IT systems and data management and building software. This was kind of new for us. And then we did that, and we built a functioning IT system. But then we had a ton of data, and we said, okay, we got to turn this data into something meaningful so people can do something with it, particularly protected area managers. And we had this challenge. We had, millions of images. We knew the statistics we needed to do with some complex Bayesian statistics with lots of simulations. We needed to turn this into an indicator. And we could kind of do it for a couple of weeks on our laptop, but we needed to do this. This needed to be like a real-time thing. As new data came in, we had an operational system. And so our challenge was trying to figure this out, and ultimately we wanted to be able to understand the health of wildlife populations and see if they're stable, if they're increasing or decreasing, and figure out what could be driving those trends. And we set off to start trying to build this wildlife picture index, is what it was called. It's still called the index. And we accomplished this by partnering with a technology company. In this case, it was Hewlett-Packard before they split with HPE, and it became HPE. And we worked with them to build this application. And for us, it was really groundbreaking from a lot of different perspectives. We had never had that depth of a partnership with a technology company or just real technologists. And so it just gave us a lot of different ideas, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But the immediate result was, after some months of working with them and building an application, we were able to analyze over 500 species populations. We were able to do a high-level peer-reviewed science paper, and we can essentially say of those, in those 17 protected areas where we work in the team network, we can tell you what's happening with over 500 species populations, whether they're stable, whether they're increasing, whether they're decreasing, and we can track that year after year and see what's happening, and we can produce results and give those to the land managers. And so that, nothing at this scale had ever been done before. It's really novel, and it just produced some incredible results. And so one concrete example of this is we work in a protected area in Uganda. It's called the Bwindi Impenetrable Forest. But animals can't get in there, and people are there. It's actually it's one of the last places you can go see the Western lowland gorilla. So ecotourism is a big thing there. It supports the park, and so when we started doing work there, they first discovered that this cat, the golden cat, was found in the park. And they had no idea this was there. So all the local folks were jumping down. They're like, wow, we have the golden cat. It's in the north of the park. This is amazing. And then we ran the analytics and we said, it's good, you have the cat, but actually the population is decreasing. And they're like, oh, no, this is terrible, right? They were just excited that this cat existed in this area. And our analytics also told them that there was a significant correlation with humans and human observation with this cat. And so that also, they kind of scratched their head and they started thinking about what they're doing in that protected area, and they realized that they had moved the trails that the ecotourists take to the gorillas from like the central of the park to the northern part of the park where it has a habitat for those cats. And so they immediately like, okay, this is great, this is real data in action, we're gonna move the trail back and we wanna see what happens. And sure enough, within a year or so, we could see, you can kind of see the red dotted line, which is the golden cat. You know, we reran it again in 2014. Now it's a black line, which basically says it's stable. Yeah, sorry, I'm pointing up here, but yes. Too many screens. And actually, I just reran it, and in 2016, you can see it's turned into a green line, so that population is actually increasing. So, and this is exactly the type of data-driven conservation application that we're looking for, right? It's not experts saying, oh, I think this is going on in this protected area, or people making decisions and based on nothing. But this is the exact kind of data-driven approach that we wanted to see. And one of the exciting things about working with technology folks in general is that they immediately think about scaling and scalability, and how do you, if you're going to solve one problem, are there other problems like that we can solve together? And so it was a very natural kind of transition for us to think about, okay, we've solved this problem in the 17 protected areas of the team network. What about in all the rest of the protected areas around the world? In the US, Canada, developing countries, developed countries. How do we scale this? And so we kind of took our approach of our standardized protocols and science, our experience with sensors, some of the software we've developed, some of the new cloud-based software we developed with HP and some of the other technologists, some of the reporting tools, and we created what was called the wildlife monitoring solution, so that now this is actually available to any protected area or even private land manager that has an interest in understanding what's happening to wildlife populations on their lands. So that's to me it's a great example of like productizing conservation work and thinking about how you can scale it up. It's a great mix of science, sensors, technology, and we're starting to see immediate results. It's a little hard to see, but the orange dots are the current team network, and now we're engaged with a whole slew of other partners in different countries. Actually, I can highlight probably 8 different countries that we're having conversations with at the level of a state or a whole country, particularly in South America, Africa. And it also creates some unexpected results. So this little pink area here is in Marin County. I actually live up in Marin, and it turns out that I don't know if you guys know Mount Tamalpais, but it's the main feature you see when you go across the Golden Gate. But they have 130 camera traps set up around Mount Tamalpais to understand what's happening with wildlife on a whole slew of protected area lands, from Golden Gate National Parks, National Park Service, Marin County Parks, California State Parks. They're all kind of working together around the greater Mount Tem area to try and grapple with the same problem that we grapple with around the world. And so it led us to a lot of different, this is leading us to a lot of different areas. And it wouldn't have started unless we made that first jump into technology. And so we've been working with the Marin groups for the last 9 months. This is what we actually worked together with DataKind on, trying to build out more analytics that the land managers and from these 5 agencies that are requesting from us. This is actually one of the slides I used at the data dive, trying to frame what our objective is, what our outcome is. Actually, a few of the technical leads, Brian and Abhishek, and a few other people are here that we've been working with over the last few months. And kind of the skills we're looking for. We're looking for in terms of how do we take this kind of, how do we build more analytics, our kind of, our data and pipe it into something new, or do we need to do more data transformations? Do we need a new visualization tool? And we ended up with just after the data dive, we ended up with a great prototype, right? We did a lot of data transformations, a lot of Python scripts were written. We ended up with a really cool framework for an R-Shiny app. Some of the things we brought to the table, we brought really well-structured data, we brought metadata, we brought both the team data as well as the Marin data, so it gave some context about different places in the world. And we also brought down some of the local biologists and people from these projects. And so I think that was really instrumental in helping the dialogue occur between the data scientists, the volunteers, and thinking about the app and the solutions that we wanted. And then since then, we've actually, there's a lot of interest by the folks who volunteered, and we've been continuing to work with them. We have a GitHub project, and a handful of them that actually we're meeting Thursday night to talk more about features and things. So it's a great, and I'll talk about this more in a minute. It's a great way to actually continue to grow software, right? And this growing and maintaining software from a nonprofit perspective is not easy, even for big ones, the quote-unquote big nonprofits. So, to kind of wrap it up here, some thoughts on kind of how do NGOs, nonprofits bring technology into their work, right? Dollars are really scarce, people, resources are really scarce. The first thing we did and are still, constantly doing is trying to create the motivation. And we're lucky because we have a science center, and so we can help drive a lot of this. We can say, look, we need technology, we need better tools and sensors because it's going to make us more effective. We can do things more efficiently. Those classic arguments. We can do all these things we couldn't do before. I mean, the team network example is a great one. We make the case that, hey, if we better grapple with technology and include it in our programs, we're going to be more competitive when we go after donors or when we submit, proposals. And so we make those arguments, and those are more receptive. In terms of people, you have to, if you're a small nonprofit or a big nonprofit, you have to have the right people, right? You have the decision to train people, you hire people. I think there's a whole range of experiences and kind of skills that are needed, but I think if you start from the left here, technical project management, software requirements, like those are like the critical ones so that you can speak, data scientists and NGO folks can speak together, right? I've seen so many conversations where, semantics matter in these conversations. And then, of course, the more advanced you have in your organization, whether it's statistics, programming, databases, web apps, cloud services, all that stuff, right? The more and more you can do, the more confidence that happens. But you got to start somewhere. Another thing I've seen, both at CI as well as with other nonprofits as they work with technologists, is kind of everyone having alignment, like having the same expectations. And sometimes it's like everyone wants a super flashy car, and that's great, and everyone should strive for that, but sometimes you just need a data set clean, right? And that's gonna have a big impact on what you can do from your nonprofit's perspective. And that's okay, as long as, I think that it's the nonprofit's job to kind of say why this is so important, why having this clean data can allow them to do their mission more effectively, why they can feed more people at the at the homeless shelter or whatever it is. That's you just have to put it in context to show that this is going to make a difference. And if you can get the shiny app, and a lot of times that initial conversation leads to something much more, and that's exactly what happened to us. And the last thing that I think everyone needs to think about, including folks at DataKind, including any of the technologists or contractors you work with, is maintainability. And this is a big problem, right? I mean, if you work with someone and if it's not a one-off solution and you build software and it's doing what you need it to do, you have to maintain it, right? I mean, there's a new PHP upgrade or the Python upgrade and your app breaks, something happens, or you have to change your database, or you have to think about how you're going to do this or how you're going to have someone else do this. Is there a cost in there? Are you prepared for it? Like, are you getting a Ferrari and you can't really afford the Ferrari? So these are things that you really have to think about as you go down this path. And I think that's it. I'm going to play one last kind of motivational video. This is CI went down this path of creating, giving a voice to nature. It's a really clever kind of campaign to kind of, if nature could talk, what could they say? It was done with the guy who made the Think Different, Apple commercials in the 90s. I don't know if you remember that. His name's Lee Clow. But this one's called Home, and it's by Reese Witherspoon. Let's see if it plays.
I am home. I give you comfort. I shelter your family. See me for who I am. Home, sweet home. I am your refuge. I am the floor that supports you. The foundation that keeps you steady. The walls that give you shelter. The roof that protects you. I am your home. If you don't take care of me,